Welcome to the project breakdown video for my remix of Unforgettable by Marcus and Martinus. I fell in love with its 2000s to now vibe immediately, and after looping it in my recents playlist, I realized I really wanted to take a crack at it. So, I pumped the BPM up to 145 for a more driving trance feel, and added some classic 303 acid elements into the mix. At the bottom of the project I have the original song. I've separated it with Demux, a locally installed multi-track splitter. For any tracks that have tonality, in this case the synths and bass, I also run them through Melodyne to get a really rough representation of the tracks. Then, I'll take select sections that have ideas from the original song I want to work with and clean their MIDI up. Moving to the top, let's start with the vocals, since that's obviously the main reason I wanted to remix this song in the first place. They have such a classic mid-2000s boy band vibe while also having the ultra-clean sound of the 2020s. To tackle them, I split the vocals to two tracks, one that is left mostly intact and one for chops and edits. Both have an instance of inner pitch for pitch bending, and it's mostly set at one octave down, except for once at the build for the final drop, it rises. Both tracks get bussed together and receive a light nectar pass and some rift distortion automated throughout. Note that all my buses get finalized with relatively the same thing. A smooth operator to calm harsher frequencies, and a human VST set at subtle groove. I like how it gives a slight movement to the normally very rigid timing of EDM. Nearly all the way back at the bottom is the drum bus. From the original song, I've used some 4 on the floor drums from the final build and chopped those to be the backing for my own builds. I've also taken the toms near that part of the original to sprinkle throughout my song at key moments, little transitional diddlies. The clap is sampled from the original track, but all other drums are OG 909 samples. Hats are auto-panned for a more lively top end using Panman, and then all the drums get bussed into an IHNY2 from Baby Audio with my custom flavor of the rock kick thwack preset I've named EDM Kit Thwack. Very original. I'll move on to the bass bus now. The instruments for this whole project are mostly DCO 106s from Cherry Audio. The bass for this remix is no different and is very subby and clicky with decay automation throughout. I like to take advantage of Flux Mini 2, an envelope shaper, to make the bass line super tight. I can even automate its effect to still play longer glidey notes for the D&B section halfway through. The bass then hits the bus, gets run through quad bass. It's a VST from Arch Echo bassist Joe Calderone, and it's an all-in-one bass processing tool that forms the whole tone for the bass, starting with some light compression, and then to its final form through some saturated EQ. I've also side-chained the low-level band to the kick. On to the synth bus, I'll start with the accordion. It plays the actual melody from the original track the most, that little run, and is just a patch from AAS Player's Swatches pack. Above that I have the ARP, which is a super speed version of the original song's ARP, with a completely new pattern though. It has one of my favorite distortions, Ruina, blended in and out to bring a bit of anger. Really love that plugin. The ARP passes off arpeggiator duty to the pads during the second drop, right before the D&B section, where the pads get a lower attack to properly blink away. The pads are another DCO 106 instance with normally low attack, but it's obviously automated up for that one little bit. It's got a really ethereal feel. Classic trance stuff. String Cheese is just a cheesy lead to fill the backdrop at some emptier moments, but for the main leads, one of my favorite acid VSTs to work with is the Alien 303 by G-Sonic, and I've got it doing its cutoff and resonance goodness throughout on a modified version of the new ARP pattern. The last instrument, and final DCO 106, I think, is the main lead tone. I wanted to make something with a digital edge, but lots of whimsy, some good pitch bends and stuff. It's also getting a bunch of acidification, let's call it, via more filter automation. My favorite effect for flavor is a tad of mishby on the synth bus. It adds a bit of instability and warble, but just a tad. I just love that edge it adds. Finally, near the top, we have the effects bus. All the impacts, risers, and atmosphere are crafted by resampling elements of the remix and then affecting them. Lots of time stretching and reverbs, delays, that sort of thing. White noise with high pass and low pass automation for builds and downlifts. Runs the whole length of the track, just one white noise sample that I automated it out. To top it all off, I've got Transit automating swells and builds. Transit is a plugin from Baby Audio and Andrew Huang, legendary production YouTuber, and I'm sure you've heard the praises, but it just works really well for those transitional elements. Then we've got an EQ for low pass moments for the whole track. All the elements are also relevantly routed through my 3 sends, my short verb, long verb, and a delay. The presence of each send gets micro adjustments at key moments, and it's really just there to add a lot of glue. One limiter later to get up to the proper levels, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tour through my remix of Unforgettable. Definitely one of my favorites going into Eurovision 2024. Seems like at this rate I'm making a Eurovision remix every year. Which song or songs are you rooting for? Let me know down in the comments. See ya!